Uh, Good morning, everyone. I met Jay on a blind mandate about a dozen years ago. Sandy Kleiman, who's a mutual friend, said, "Hey, I think you should meet this guy, Jay Penske." I said, "What for?" He said, "Well, you just think you guys will get along." Had a really nice breakfast. Just got to know each other a little bit. And 2 weeks later, his financing that he had lined up to acquire Variety fell through. So he called me and asked me if I'd be interested in buying the company with him. After, I think it took him about 6 or 9 months of due diligence with the partner that backed out at the last minute. I think after 2 weeks, we made our commitment. He acquired Variety, and what resulted was not just an incredibly successful investment for us, but more important and more valuable, a great and deep friendship with Jay. I've gotten to know him, I've gotten to know Variety, and not only is he a great businessman, he's a man of principles, and he has used Variety as a force for good and to tackle difficult issues. Before I got there, he already had in the works an issue on guns, which probably didn't make him the most popular person in Hollywood, because he took a view that Hollywood had perpetuated a view on guns and gun violence that needed to be discussed. But I think it went very well, and I think it brought up issues, and Hollywood had to deal with it. On a happier note, I had been involved on the issue of LGBT rights and marriage in New York State, and we worked with Variety for months preparing an issue on marriage. And the day after the Supreme Court made marriage legal, he was ready to go with an LGBT issue. And I think that's important because I think you could see in the issue of marriage and gay rights generally, Hollywood has played an instrumental role in changing public perception and views around gays, gay marriage, trans community, et cetera. And I think overall, look, it humanized gay people, and it allowed people to say, like, you know, they could watch a show like Glee and say, "Oh, I have friends like that," or "I have kids like that." So I think Hollywood has had a really important role in that. A couple years later, I had been very interested and involved in criminal justice reform, and I brought this idea to Jay, and again, he didn't hesitate to put together an issue on criminal justice. And again, if you look at the history that Hollywood has had around depicting prison situations and the injustices that go on in our criminal justice system, it's played a really important role in humanizing people and understanding, as Brian Stevens says, and my friend Van Jones often quotes, we shouldn't be defined by the worst thing that we've ever done. And not only did he put together an issue, we had a summit here 5 years ago today, and Van Jones was sitting on this same stage with Kim Kardashian, and in the middle, this wasn't planned or staged. In the middle of the conversation, he got a phone call from Jessica Jackson, who ran his foundation at the time, telling him in the room that the Trump administration was going to support the First Step Act, which has resulted in, so far, 20,000, let's just say, not necessarily wrongly, but excessively incarcerated people who don't pose a threat to society from prison. So, you know, Hollywood's been amazing, and I want to also thank all the Jews for being here. I want to thank the non-Jews for being here too, because, you know, we Jews often feel like we're alone in this fight. Goes back to biblical stories of Moses looking left and looking right, seeing nobody there. He went in and did what he had to do to the Egyptian that was beating up the Jew. You know, I think we've even felt a little left alone by some of our allies in these very groups that I've talked about that haven't spoken up. But for those of you that are here and that support us, a huge thanks. On anti-Semitism and Hollywood, I think this is a complicated issue. This isn't a summit about anti-Semitism in Hollywood. This is a summit about how Hollywood can help solve the issue of anti-Semitism and address it. But also, like the gun issue, look internally and think about what have we done that can help, what have we done that can hurt. I mean, think about a great movie like Cast a Giant Shadow with Kirk Douglas. I'll never forget that scene with, if you haven't seen that movie, there's a scene where John Wayne approaches the concentration camp. The camera never goes to the prisoners of war, to the people in there, but they pan to a picture of John Wayne's face, and he crumbles on the ground. And then subsequently, there's a series of scenes where Kirk Douglas, goes to Israel in the early days. So, I mean, there are movies like that. There are movies like Schindler's List. You know, on the other side, there are some movies that, I won't name them, are really cringy and do perpetuate horrible stereotypes. So, you know, I think we're here today to talk about broadly what's happened, what Hollywood can do. But I want to leave you with just one final thought. And I think Rabbi Sharon did an unbelievable job in teeing this up. And I'm a little humble bringing up the topic of Judaism following such an eloquent speech. And this may sound like a contradiction given everything that's happening and how important this fight against anti-Semitism is. Let us not let ourselves be defined by the fight against anti-Semitism. It's important. We have to do it. But fighting anti-Semitism without acknowledging ourselves and defining ourselves is something much greater, much bigger. We're a people with great values, great traditions, a great history. And I think we're not Democrats or Republicans or independents or, you know, woke or not woke. We're Jews. And we should be governed by the rules that we all share. And it might surprise you to hear me say this, but I really think that one of the most important things we can do, and of course we have to be operational and tactical and do all the things we're going to do and talking about doing, but I urge everyone to reconnect with your Judaism, reconnect with your values, your history, your traditions, read the Torah. I'm 59 years, oh no, not 59, unfortunately I'm almost 62. During COVID, I started learning Hebrew, and I started praying in the mornings with a rabbi that I had met in Israel, Rabbi Lipsker, and his son Zalman. In the course of doing that, incredibly, I never thought I could, I learned to read Hebrew. Can't speak it fluently, I don't even know what most of the words are, but I can read it and I read the translation. So I urge all of you, we're into the second or third parsha of the Jewish calendar. Go back to Bereshit, read Noah, stay up to speed every week, read your Torah. If you have time, go to shul. If you don't, Rabbi Sachs, Rabbi Soloveitchik, I'm sure Rabbi Sharon, who we just heard, has something. Read some commentary. It doesn't take that long. It's easy. 30 minutes, it'll connect you. Do it for 1 year. You know, Jews typically do it over and over. Do it for a year. And then the other thing I would urge you to do, let me take a step back, something I want to say about that. And even if you're a non-believer, this is a room of storytellers. This is a great story. It's like the Iliad or the Odyssey or the Count of Monte Cristo. I mean, it covers thousands of years of history, and it's mostly about Moses, but it's about the people that came before him, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, etc., Noah. So it's a great story. If that's all you get out of it is a great story that connects you to your history, please do that. It'll deepen your bond with your fellow Jews. And then consider prayer. Now, California is sort of the origin of New Age, and if you don't believe in God and you just think about these as daily affirmations, I was shocked that all the things that the experts in happiness and whatever, they're all here. You know, the Modeh Ani, one of the first prayer you say when you wake up, it's gratitude for being alive. Harinei mikaval, alai mitzvah seishel v'ahavta l'reisha kamocha. Sorry about my pronunciation. Love your fellow man as fulfill this mitzvah. Love your fellow man as yourself. The Shema, Shema Israel, a declaration of faith. And the last one, which Rabbi Sharon elaborated on, Sim Shalom, pray for peace in Israel. Pray for peace for all the Jewish people. And let's get on with our summit. Thank you all very much for this.